Ever heard of the Battle of Marathon? The Greeks, heavily outnumbered, used clever tactics to defeat the mighty Persian army. Why? They surprised them by running directly at them. The Battle of Agincourt saw English archers beating French knights. Muddy ground and longbows played a big role. Would you believe arrows could outsmart armor? Imagine a small group of farmers with pitchforks defeating well-trained soldiers. That's what happened at the Battle of Stirling Bridge. The Scots used the narrow bridge to trap the English. In the Battle of Salamis, the Greeks lured the Persians into narrow straits. Their smaller ships outmaneuvered the large Persian fleet. Can you picture big ships stuck in a bottleneck? The War of Jenkins Ear started over a severed ear. Spanish and British ships clashed in the Caribbean. Sometimes the smallest things spark the biggest battles. At the Battle of Cannae, Hannibal used a double envelopment tactic. His smaller army surrounded and crushed the Romans. Who knew a simple pincer move could be so effective? During the siege of Orléans, Joan of Arc inspired a demoralized French army to victory. A teenage girl leading troops. It changed the course of history. The Battle of Bannockburn saw Robert the Bruce's Scots defeating the English. They used the terrain and quick strikes. Can you imagine outsmarting a larger, better-equipped force? The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest was a disaster for the Romans. Germanic tribes ambushed them in dense woods. It was a crushing blow to Rome's expansion plans. The Battle of Stamford Bridge saw the English defeating Viking invaders. King Harold's forces marched quickly and surprised the Vikings. Swift action saved the day. Ever heard of the Battle of Alesia? Caesar's Romans built double walls to trap and defeat a larger Gallic force. The combination of engineering and strategy was unbeatable. At the Battle of Zama, Scipio's Romans used Hannibal's own tactics against him. They countered elephants with gaps in their lines. Turning the tables can change everything. The siege of Vienna was stopped by a surprise cavalry charge. Polish King Sobieski's winged hussars broke the Ottoman siege. Imagine horsemen with wings turning the tide. The Battle of Thermopylae was a heroic last stand by 300 Spartans. They held off a massive Persian army in a narrow pass. Sometimes bravery in a tight spot makes all the difference. In the Battle of Tours, Charles Martel's Franks halted the advance of Moorish forces. Using the element of surprise and terrain, they won against the odds. At the Battle of Leuthen, Frederick the Great's Prussians used oblique order to outflank and defeat a larger Austrian force. A diagonal attack caught them off guard. The Battle of Valmy saw French revolutionary troops defeating Prussian invaders. Their unexpected victory boosted morale and changed the course of the revolution. The Battle of Lake Trasimene was a masterclass in ambush. Hannibal lured the Romans into a trap using fog and the terrain. Surprise and cunning can be more powerful than numbers. The Battle of the Golden Spurs saw Flemish militia defeating French knights. Fighting on foot in marshy ground, they turned the tables on their mounted foes. The Battle of the Plains of Abraham was won by a surprise climb up cliffs. Wolfe's British troops outmaneuvered the French in Quebec. A bold move made all the difference. In the Battle of the Ice, Russian forces led by Alexander Nevsky defeated the Teutonic Knights on a frozen lake. The ice broke under the knights, sealing their fate. The Battle of Gaugamela saw Alexander the Great defeating Darius III's much larger Persian army. Clever tactics and the element of surprise were key. At the Battle of Blenheim, the Duke of Marlborough used a feigned retreat to lure French forces into a trap. The element of surprise turned the tide. The Battle of Cowpens was a turning point in the American Revolution. Daniel Morgan's troops used double envelopment to crush the British. Quick thinking won the day. The Battle of the Bulge saw a surprise German offensive in Waus. Allied forces held strong despite being caught off guard, eventually pushing back the enemy. The Battle of Saratoga was a major turning point in the American Revolution. The American forces used clever tactics to surround and capture British troops. Imagine defeating an army using only mock attacks and clever deception. That's what happened at the Battle of Trenton when Washington's troops surprised the Hessians. The Battle of Midway was a decisive W.U. naval battle. U.S. forces broke Japanese codes and launched a surprise attack, changing the course of the war. The Battle of Rorke's Drift saw a small British force holding off a massive Zulu army. Their defense against overwhelming odds became legendary. The Battle of Ain Jalut saw the Mamluks defeating the Mongols. Using hit-and-run tactics, they stopped the seemingly unstoppable Mongol advance.